difficulties. The learner begins to experience difficulties. And then we go to the third lab, information application. The third level of the pyramid takes place after the factual information has been presented, well understood. And then the final phase when we apply yes, metacognition, real world application. Real world application. And the last level, where whatever we have learned from great beginnings is applied to do something, to perform a professional task. So facilitation begins here, and then over here, whatever the student has understood is exchanged, from the facilitator to the student. And then, of course, we begin to try to apply this, and finally we use it to do information, to do something, to perform a professional task. For those of us in the technical university, because we are, doing well with the CBT, you can see that our students, somebody, I think Mr. Ayu said it, our students, when they go out into industry, their performance is really good because although our CBT is not properly being implemented, we do our best to give the students a better, way of expressing themselves. All right. So let's look at some factors which promote effective facilitation. High quality planning facilitate, high quality facilitation includes planning and innovation. To develop home-based learners, facilitators should be sensitive to accommodating different types of learners. When I am teaching my CBT students, especially when I meet them for the first time, I try to find out their educational background. Those from separate, those from pure technical institutions, those from pure grammar institutions. And then when I'm putting them into groups, I pick one from each or two from each category, and then I put them together to form a group. And it really helps. When they are, doing the project work, you see everyone contribute. Then the next thing is mastering of knowledge and skills. This one makes facilitation very, very, very easy. Very, very easy in the sense that lecturers who come fresh from school, grammar, they can say everything. But when it comes to the execution of professional tasks, then it becomes a problem. If you cannot, for instance, supervise the construction of a road, why do you teach it? Why do you teach it? How are you preparing the students to work in industry without supervision? When students are employed, they are supposed to be able to work, begin to work with minimum supervision. But here, we teach them because we ourselves do not know. I remember when I was interviewing a lecturer, those who mentioned the lecture, person who goes in high, you've done your master's, surface breath road briefly, and the person sat in front of me without any response for 5 minutes. So I have to change the question. How do potholes develop? That's what I do. It's so sad. No, and we are supposed to train students who will go to industry to patch potholes, to supervise the construction of roads. If you don't know how to do it, how do you? So it is really very important for facilitators to be very competent when it comes to execution of projects before deciding to actually facilitate. Otherwise, soon as you are employed, you must quickly go to industry and begin to learn something before you come to the classroom. And it's quite very difficult for us to make sure that this particular business is actually. I know when I was in the director of planning and quality assurance, so that some money has been allocated for lecturers to assess and go for industrial practice. But it's always kept there, and at the end of the academic year, it is rolled over. Why? They don't go for it. They don't go for it. They know. They know. You apply. And director of finance is always happy. That you know, okay, now let's look at approaches to TVET facilitation. Teacher centered, that is what most of us are practicing. Teacher centered. Direct instruction. Direct instruction. That one I will not talk about. We already do. Direct instruction. That's what we are practicing. Direct instruction. And then we have the learner centered, which is also CBT, or the discovery approach. And that one, I don't know whether I must describe it, but it focuses on acquisition of what? Skills or competencies necessary to perform the task. And so when you give it to the student is supposed to work. Or if to a group of students, they're supposed to brainstorm, and then under your guidance, you achieve your target. So the learners are the ones who perform the task. That's why we say it is learner-centered. Now let's look at facilitation methods which we can use in training. First, we have the direct instruction. Then we have the discussion method. Then we have the small group work method. And then we have the problem-solving method, which we talk about. But the other methods, these are the basic ones we should be able to, employ. Direct method is the one we are employing. That one is very easy. But discussion method. So let's look at the direct method. These are the advantages. There is control of content and sequencing of information for the learner, and therefore receives control. The advantage include control of content and sequencing of information. The learner receives, and therefore you maintain a clear focus on the outcomes. Now, I look at our syllabus and the courses or the whole standards. I see that we do not show the work, the learning outcomes. We show objective evolution. Right under your we do theory, and we do outcomes. That's how GTEC wants it. But it is wrong. In fact, when I became director of the competency-based center, I tried to convert this thing into CBT. Once we designed the curricular outline, now you're supposed to pick the various courses and then do what we call what? Unit breakdown. You break down each unit. So you must be able to pick a particular subject, a particular lecture, and then look at the word objective, then the learning outcomes. And then you have to derive the performance criteria, and then the assessment. So the learning outcomes will show you the resources you need to do the teaching. And then it will also guide you to develop the plan, learning plan session, and the delivery. How many minutes are you going to use it? Teach the theory, the practicals, how are you going to teach it using which resources? All those things must be ready before we do what? We begin to teach. But the pressure of planning and quality assurance directly, prepare timetable, the timetable is ready, let us start. Why are you not teaching? All those things, it defeats CBT. this. So what we are currently doing, I don't, the way it is, showing is not so much CBT because I can bet that we have the courses we are teaching, and if they say the learning outcomes, how many learning outcomes do we have in lectures to find it difficult? Well, we have objective, practical, finish. What are the learning outcomes? Enumerate them. And then you pick them and find the resources. Over here, another advantage for the direct instruction. It is an effective way of facilitating and factual information, and then it can be used effectively in large classes. Large classes. When I go to KsTU-FBNE and I'm teaching formation evaluation, I have about 240 students. I always decide to discard CBT. Yes. In fact, I tried it once, and the students really liked it. I gave them the lecture, and then I gave them homework. The following week, we submitted the homework. I collected all the homework, and then I placed it on the table. Then I took my small book. Okay, which question did you, question 2, you answered question 2. What was the answer? Then I repeat the question. And then I saw that they couldn't answer. So what happened? They just highlighted my slides, and then they used it for the answers without even thinking about whether it was solving the distance. So, did you answer question 5? Okay, tell me the answer. Then they are they tell me, Pastor, you said we should do the homework, but you didn't say we should learn it. And so quickly, some of them quickly fetched out their phones and then decided to do the thing. So I collected all their phones. Let's do group discussion. How did then I put them into groups? This group, tell me how you answered, question 3. Yes, you'll be looking at this one. Okay, so for large classes, it's very difficult. But for our normal classes, we can manage. So you can do effective CBT facilitation education if you want. When I got large classes, then I tried to put them into groups. I do my CBT, and it was working. The students really liked it because it also prepared them for exams. It prepared them for exams. Anytime they are going to write midterm or exams, they know the answer because they know, hey, Professor Boko, this is what he's going to do. And when he gives you homework, and you go and just copy it, try and put it down. Right. Okay, so it is relatively less stressing and learning can feel more relaxed because the teacher does all the work. This is what it is. Teacher doing all the work. That one is not good. You're not supposed to do it. It promotes the possibility of the facilitator becoming a role model for the learners to emulate. It is effective for transfer of knowledge readily available to students. The limitations: 1. The success of this method is heavily dependent on the image and ability of the teacher. If the teacher is not knowledgeable, practically inclined, is not competent, okay, or less prepared to enhance communication skills deficiency, the learners get bored and distracted. And then we revisit our, our concept of learning, and we will see what the students will be assimilating in them. When the material to be learned is complex and abstract, mathematics, direct instruction may not provide the learners with sufficient time to process and understand the information. Mathematics should have, the mathematics lecture should be doing a lot of, group work and students interaction. When they do indirect, that is why students always face difficulties. When I studied in Russia, they put us into groups and it gives you the mathematical works and then you prove, and the group, one will help one another. and then you come out with a solution. But here, the math teachers complicated subjects, they are teaching it, giving instruction. That one is a disadvantage. Then another limitation, demonstration is direct instructions, relies heavily on the learner's observation skills. Many learners, unfortunately, are not skilled observers. They are not skilled observers. Many learners are not skilled observers. And so, if you are teaching them instruction, you think they will. Well, if you evaluate yourself and at the end of the semester, you should be able to know whether you've done well. When in some countries, if the students don't do well, the fault is the lecturers. It goes to him direct. In the US, you'll be there and then they will bring a new facilitator to take over from you. Go and sit down. When you go and sit down, hours, no marking. You will not pay you. But that doesn't mean you pass them when quality assurance will catch you. All right. So we are still on facilitation. When is it applicable? In CBT. Direct instructions can be used to achieve many outcomes, especially those related to acquisition of knowledge, not skills. Those related to what? Knowledge, not skills. So if you look at your learning outcomes, you will see the ones which will give knowledge and those which will give skills. In certain learning environments, it is the most effective method. So the situations where they are applicable, when you have to introduce learners to a new study area or define new concepts and show how they are interrelated, the so-called foundational knowledge, and you can look directly. When the subject matter being taught has to be done by explanation, when all the learners are experiencing similar difficulties, that can be done by explanation. But when you need to demonstrate techniques which can later be used by the learner to do a practical activity. How do you prepare for direct instructions? You first have to consider the purpose of the lesson. If it is important, to be clear about why you are facilitating. And then some of the few questions you can ask yourself. Why am I facilitating this lesson? What will the learner know at the end of the lesson? And then how does this relate to the rest of the unit being studied? Okay, so this, yes, as for this direct instruction, so organizing the content. How do you organize the content? You start from the easier to understand to the more difficult ideas. You see, when we are designing the CBT curricula, we design according to the task hierarchy from simple to complex. If you are building, they are supposed to supervise the construction of the building. We start then with, construction of a kiosk or a one-story building, not multi-story building where there are a lot of complications. Okay, so that's how, and then how learners to make connections between what you already do and the new information you present. Emphasis the things that are important. Use examples to help learners understand. Do you all do all this? Provide summaries and appropriate points. Okay. So in our lecture notes, I know we already do this. And then the preparing the lesson notes. All this we've been doing. Getting feedback on your facilitation. If you are not facilitating clearly, learners will not understand, therefore will not achieve the outcome. One way to find out is to ask learners two simple questions. What did I do in this lesson that helped you to understand? And what did I do in this lesson that confused you? All these are direct as a result of direct. These are questions we should. In fact, we shouldn't wait for students to assess us. We should self-evaluate by asking these questions. And when I remember Around 2010, somewhere about 2009, when the students assess you, planning and quality assurance will bring the assessment, invite you, and then together with the dean, they will discuss whatever the students have written about. This time, Professor Emma, we have stopped doing it. We stopped doing it. So you don't allow the students, don't wait until they assess you and then you say, these students, they don't like you. Assess yourself and change. Okay, so how do we implement the rest method? Assisting learners to take notes, motivating learners, checking learners' understanding, and determining whether their instruction has been very effective. The next one is discussion. The next facilitation method is discussion strategy. The discussion method focuses on face-to-face interaction. That is what I normally do. Face-to-face interaction. And even group work, you meet them face-to-face and you give them projects or problems to solve. And then the discussion is very effective learning tool that can be used for any subject, any level. Discussion can involve a whole class or small groups. Discussion can stand alone as a facilitating strategy. Often used in conjunction with other learners. This one, unfortunately, we don't have our learners, lecturers, facilitators here. I would have liked us to do some practical stuff. Advantages of using discussion method include the following. It maintains the interest of the learners much more than the direct instruction. And then it is active involvement in learning motivates learners to achieve more, particularly when others respect their contribution. Students like to do. I sometimes give my slides, which I'm going to teach the following week. I give it out a week earlier. And then the students go through, and when they come to class, I call them two at a time. Two students go and present on one slide, and then the class will ask questions. And that is when you will know that students are really very good. They will ask their police difficult questions. I'm always surprised that they do that. They want to show that, yes, you that you are doing the presentation, you don't know anything. They will ask you the question. So then the discussion results in more learning because learners draw on their prior knowledge and experience to develop or expand their knowledge. Discussion helps learners to analyze lesson content and ideas purposefully, and we allow learners to share knowledge and ideas. It's very, very important. Discussion is better than lecture in helping learners to develop critical and problem solving skills. Sometimes some of the students think they are like here, they will read ahead of you and ask you questions. You throw the question back to them. Let's discuss it. And then you will see their inputs. And then eventually you will see that they answered the question, or they have different ways of answering the questions. And it really helps a lot. The discussion helps the teacher to determine whether the learner understands the context of the lesson. Now, limitations of using discussion method include the following. Dominating learners might influence the group to accept their views. There are some of the groups, they say they are, students, they learn it, they say they are champagne. So when you make them, the group leaders especially, everything they say is final. The other leaders, it means they, as for them, they only passing this. This not a very good thing. If you have a good member or leader like that, it makes the others who are not very fast. It makes them look timid. And they even would not like to contribute. They will only be sitting in the group meetings or group sessions. And when it comes to defense of their work, you will find them wanting. There is always a possibility of straying from the topic and the discussion. normally this happens to students. Some less confident students may refrain from participating for fear of being ridiculed. And it is time consuming, and when time is of essence, it is not the best method to use. This particular last line is what happens at KsTU. And when the academic calendar is supposed to be 16 weeks, we shorten it to 12 and a half or 13 weeks, and time is already limited. After midterm, 3 weeks examination is shown. How can you practice it? You need time to do students' interaction, this discussion, all these methodologies, you need time. It takes time. And so, one, if the student number is so large in the class, and then the academic calendar has been shortened, then it becomes a problem. One of the challenges I faced, trying to push CBT anytime I discuss with the vice chancellor about making sure we implement CBT. We have designed the curriculum in the CBT format, but we are not implementing it. Let us implement it. And let's implement. When we discuss and then we find out that one, the academic calendar is going to change. At the end of every model, there should be resets, which means academic calendar is in trouble. And when you plan your unit specification breakdown, you must stick to it. You must stick to it. And so when you design a timetable of unit planner using the unit specifications breakdown, all the subjects, and then you decide that you come out with a very good unit plan to ABC 14 weeks or 13 weeks, of course. It shows everything very well. So you begin to do subject things. Begin to practice subject things. So it's a time consuming, and when you fix the delivery planner using all the implementation strategies, you must not change it. And maybe in future we should be able to do it when we agree that things must change. So currently we are implementing just about 30 to 40% of this. We've not gone into details. Advantages of using the discussion strategy maintain the interest of the learners much more than the direct instructions. Active involvement in learning motivates learners to achieve more, particularly when others respect their contribution. I remember when sometimes we form groups, and when I select group members like that, I will go through the academic year or the academic period. Final year, the students are supposed to form groups by themselves, choose members. And then you see that the very good ones, select among themselves to form a group. And then they leave the sampas to form a group. I normally call the sampas a group of death. Group of death. You see how they struggle. But sometimes it forces them to what? Learn. In fact, one group really surprised me. They formed a group of them. We thought they would never graduate. We went to waste management and then pick a project topic from that place. I think Zoom Live was supposed to do that. They gave the students research to do this one and then collect data and design waste management supply system, how to establish those data. And they had a very good supervisor. He supervised them and they came out with a very good report. And they decided that a group of them value. Yeah. So they come and when they come and they are doing their discussions, so that initially they were not serious, but this time they are serious. Okay, so discussion helps learners to analyze lessons, content, and express their ideas purposely. It allows learners to share knowledge and ideas. And discussion is better than lecture in helping learners develop critical and problem-solving skills. And discussion helps the teacher to determine whether the learner understands the content of the lesson. There's one more. The facilitator pushes the youth onto the students. So most of you are very free. You are very free. Very, very free. Limitations of using discussion method include the following. I'm giving you all this so that you know when to use, apply the methods. Dominating learners might influence the group to accept their views. There's always possibility of straying from the topic of discussion. The same thing applies to it. Why should you use the discussion method? That is, if you want the whole class to work together and share ideas, or when you want to encourage learners to think on the issue or compare ideas so that you can trigger further learning. Most of them, I know you attend workshops. When you attend workshops, the facilitator or the moderator would like to bring new groups and give you something and you begin to brainstorm to discuss all these things. But when we come to the classroom, we don't do that because we think the desk, the chair, the arrangement will not allow us to do that. We must look anyway, it's part of the discipline. Okay. How to prepare the discussion method. Step one, decide on the purpose of the discussion. This one, I know you attend symposium and all those things, and you do it. The moderator like to put you into groups to discuss all those things. All these steps, decide on the purpose of the discussion. Two, decide how to focus the discussion. You see, you go to a particular group and some people are just pretending to participate. They don't understand, they don't have to focus. So you have to go and guide them. Look at what is done. Oh, you guys, there's something you don't understand. You are engaging and then you try to bring them back and get them to work. Research background information of the discussion topic. That's what the facilitator does. Four, prepare the learners to learn through the discussion. And then prepare the discussion plan. All these ones we should be very good at all the students. When we have to also plan something like that. I think there's a project. Step 6, you have to prepare the discussion environment. The discussion environment. So we see the way the chairs are, have been arranged, and then you quickly plan. Don't tell them that they should do it. Sit in a group and that's all. No, you have to guide them. Otherwise, your planning will not work. Okay. Then the next thing, implementing the class discussion. When using discussion as a facilitating technique, it is useful to open, manage, and close the discussion. If you attend, functions, you go through this process of discussion, you will see that the moderator is able to open the discussion, manage learners during the discussion, and then close the discussion. Set a time, 15 minutes. I want you to bring the report. Then you see him collecting or whatever groups have done, then bringing it, and then he's going through with them and then analyzing whatever has been written, coming out with the final solution. Then the next one is small group strategy. Small groups. When you project works or project topics, you can just break the students into small groups, and get them to work. Advantages is they offer better opportunity for learners to learn than it will be if the whole class discusses the issue. If the whole class discusses the issue. When I'm teaching petroleum geology and teaching traps, I put the various traps there. There are different types of traps. So I put a slide and then I gather a lot of them, go to the board, and then point this particular, show me which type of trap it is. If it is a structural trap or, a sedimentary trap. As soon as you are able to tell me, I say, now discuss why you say it is this particular type of trap. And then you see them discussing and they tell you why they think it's that type of trap. Eventually, you become good. So advantages. Offers better opportunity for learners to learn than to. Okay. Learners can help each other to learn faster than the facilitator would have been able to do with the whole class. That is very true. Because you see, just as I gave that example, when I'm teaching, for instance, traps, and I say this is this type of trap, this is that type of trap. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to, pinpoint the various traps and then explain how they were formed geologically. See how geologically they were formed. The traps are so many. But if I put them into groups and I put a slide there, I say, go this group, go and tell me what type of trap is that and how it was formed. They go to the board and then they begin to discuss, and then they give you a rotation. The whole class listens and they are very happy with it. Allow the facilitator to run the learning tracks for different groups of learners. Allow learners to experience roles as peer leaders. When you apply the small groups method, that is when you want to increase depth of understanding of the learners through exchange of ideas. When you want to increase learners' oral communication skills, sometimes it helps. The learners, some of them, they can only write on paper. When you say you should explain them, they are just at work. When you want to develop cooperation among learners, when the task requires teamwork to achieve the outcome. When you want learners to engage in detailed analysis of some parts of the narrative that cannot be done with the whole class, and when you want the learners to discover that there are a number of solutions to the problem, when equipment or facilities are limited and group rotation allows learners to use the equipment. All right. So first you have to plan how to put the people into the learners into groups. Planning for small group work. You revise for the learners, the background information for the group work and so on. All these are steps to guide how to plan. And then how to implement it. So step one, pre-discussion preparation to guiding group work, and then three, the ending the group work. All this is supposed to be done by the facilitator. And then, just as I said, at the end of every, if you attend workshops, I know you've been doing it. You see the moderator or the presenter, when he finishes the group discussion and everything, he will pass some papers around and tell you to evaluate the workshop. It helps him or it guides him to know whether he has done the work well, whether they have understood. See, so, yeah, all right. So you can put a paper there like that, and then you share it to members. All learners have an opportunity to contribute ideas and try to master content in a friendly environment. Yes or no? Group work helps learners to blah, 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 blah. Yes or no? Group work, all this is a form of self-evaluation, not waiting for the students to evaluate you for promotion. Sometimes we go for this material. We go from ICT and we look at it, try, and then we put it in our application for promotion. Whether it is good or not, we don't care. Roughly, well, you follow the account document. Whether it is really good or not, oh, they're found. Especially with those graphs, and even the criteria for the evaluation in that is not CBT at all. It's not CBT. Okay. Yeah, so okay. Then the next one is problem solving strategy. Problem solving strategy. All these things are very important, and you guys should begin to do. Problem solving method is a process of applying current knowledge to new or unfamiliar situations to gain knowledge. When used for facilitating strategic problem solving method can help learners realize that the knowledge they already possess can be applied to new situations and gain new knowledge. This is very popular facilitation strategy for CBT because key-based competencies are organized from the simple to the more complex. Therefore, knowledge acquired at the lower level can be applied in solving a more complex problem. So in our case, when I was in the civil engineering department, we go to the department of urban rules, and they have a lot of industrial problems. And you take it, another explanation of a staff from those institutions, judge with the students, solve the problem, they write the report, and then they hand over copies to industry. They are the beneficiaries, the students will come and defend the solution. That is what. And this time, the thesis of oil and gas, I think most of them were problems which the students solved. Most of them were problems. So we put them to do, they discuss, and then the advantage, it gives the learner a sense of satisfaction and increases their confidence when they are able to solve new problems and thus build new knowledge. It allows learners to be responsible for directing their own learning. It is rewarding experience in the sense that they have new knowledge or skills as a result of their own efforts. It allows learners to develop critical thinking skills, ability to adapt new learning situations. It enhances the learner's ability to make informed judgments and so on and so forth. Limitations, all of them has good or bad sides. A lot of preparation time is needed. Learners may not have the confidence and they feel uncomfortable with this approach. Normally, when we attend sessions, you see some learners, when you ask them questions, they look at the ceiling, they don't want to use that because they don't have the solution. They are not confident. They are afraid to talk. They are not confident because they think whatever they will say is wrong. It's a limitation. Unless the facilitator plans the learner problems that this method may not be an effective strategy. So because learners are working on their own, they will not learn all the things that they are expected to learn. Also, when working in groups, it is easy for the less able or less confident to be dominated by confident and able. When you apply the problem strategy, when learners have gained deep understanding of the subject matter relating to the new problem to solve. My nephew is doing information technology at Legon, and he's doing his internship at the ICT Directorate. And he's in the third year. And then we have KsTU students who are also who have completed a third year and they've taken a full one semester for investment. And so he's sitting amongst them. And anything the technicians or instructors are teaching them, the KsTU students know everything. So he came to ask me, this your students, KsTU, they also do information technology. Me too, I'm in my class, but I don't know all these things. They know everything. Anything they say, oh, they know. They say they know. They say they know. So me, I'm even shy. And I said, yes. Their curricula has been designed in a modular form where performance of all the tasks have been put together. So by the time they go for a test, they would have gone through everything. Say, hey, I'm scared. They're going to be not learning anything. And I said, that is it. We sent oil and gas students for initial attachment at Tano. We went to visit the monitor and the supervisor called myself and Nando. I've been teaching. They seem to do everything. When we mention women, they know it. When anything. So our students are the ones who they send to, if it is, Takrami Harbor, to go, supervise the spraying, what is it? The corroded part of the ship. If they have to be cleaned by spraying, our students supervise the ship and cruises. And then when it is drilling, they have knowledge in everything. So when they say, but this is your KsTU, they know everything before they came to the building. How come they became petroleum engineers? They also this is the way our curriculum is. So by the time they come for industrial attachment, they would have done exploration, characterization of the reservoir and the source rock. They would have done drilling. They would have done evaluation of the source rock. And well, they would have done everything. So when they come, anything you mention, they know. Even maintenance, we would have taught them. So, that's the difference. That's the difference. But imagine if we are able to go deeper in the implementation of the CBT. We would have done a lot of this. Right. So here we go. Planning strategy. Okay. Decide on the outcomes you want to learn. That is, you want to plan problem solving strategy. Develop or locate suitable problems or series of problems that can be used to achieve the learning outcomes. Determine the core knowledge that the learners will need to solve the problem. Identify parts of the problem that are likely to be most difficult. So we do this. I remember my HOD last year, he told me, oh, I need a problem, so that we give to the students as final project. I Professor Kissi, his daughter at the Newman said I should look for a problem so that I told you that I can come up with a problem. Comparative studies of where you're going to using against machine learning. And she was able to do it. She got excellent. I supervised her. Guide learners to resources that will help them perform the task and then provide constructive feedback to correct their learning. Good. Now, the strategies, implementation points. Points we need to consider what we want to learn. Implement the problem solving. Establish appropriate learning climate. Use of group work. Encourage learners to think. Encourage learners to participate. You don't just put them into group and then you do not encourage them. You do not moderate. Go around and see what. Attend to individual needs and then develop understanding. Then use brainstorming. Encourage learners to help one another, develop learners problem solving skills, and then the facilitator activity during the problem solving lesson. Make the problem, analyze the problem, generate ideas, evaluate the ideas, determine whether your problem solving lesson has been successful. How do you do that? You self-evaluate. And you do evaluation of the whole thing. All right. Other facilitation methods, strategies. We have other methods you can, but this one I decided not to describe them. cooperative related, research related, focus group discussion, community outreach visits, and then seminars and symposiums. This is about the learning session for after facilitator has decided the kind of facilitation strategy to use. You come out with the learning session plan. This one is for another workshop, but these are the things we consider: administrative information, the unique details, which we are yet to do. Maybe the professor will invite me. This one is a whole workshop. It take about 1 week. Learning session preparation, learning session review, learning session evaluation. And that is all. Thank you very much. Okay. So, questions? Yes.
Thank you very much for the presentation. My first question is in the opening remarks of Prof. Alia, yes, he said technical universities are mandated to use the CBT. Yes. I want to find out if it is still a mandate for technical university to use it. And if it is a mandate, are we going by the mandatory CBT? Because we were also practicing the CBT. But along the line, CBT, we are not supposed to fail students. We're failing them. We're failing them. That was one difficulty. No, they are failing them. We were not failing. But we understand that when students are having those things until they are competent, we'll still have to continue with them. But the institution was not ready to accept them. Because I remember during your time, we tried that the ICT department should fashion the means by which the CBT data can be imputed, but they ignored it. That is one. I also want to find out if industry has also been briefed, because we had one student who did his attachment at GDC as a stage staff. Then GDC wanted to employ him. But when they asked him to bring his details, he was giving them competent, incompetent. So he said they did not understand that and that. They should come and see the institution for us to convert those competent and incompetent. So we should find means of engaging all the stakeholders to give a proper CBT. Else, it is a very nice thing, but we will not be able to.
Okay, so let me answer the question. The first question that if it is still mandated, yes, and if we are following the mandate, now, CBT in the technical implementation is still mandated. In fact, GDF will not be happy that we will be replicating what the research universities are doing. It is mandatory. That's why we call it technical university. And it is in even our policy. It's mandatory. Now, your second question. GTEC, CTEC has designed programs up to HND level. Now, so we have to, according to their national qualification framework, we have the national proficiency 1, proficiency 2, national certificate 1, certificate 2, and then HND. Now, the first 4 levels, when you go through those programs, the assessment or the grading is competent or not competent. In the sense that they are all short courses, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. They are not full academic courses. And so progression from NP1 to NP2 is clearly stated. Then from NP2 to NC1 is clearly stated. Someone may decide that you do only NP2 and you not continue. The person must be certificated so that the person can work. So in this wise, according to CTZ, they want to see competent, not competent for employment. But when we come to the academic courses, BTech, MTech, and so on and so forth, it is the institution which is running the program. The institution has designed the program. They are running it. Now, there and then, because of progression issues, we are not supposed to use the competent, not competent. In fact, some of our HND students, when we started with CPT, they had this competent and non-competent. It generated a lot of debate and a lot of anger. Because when they wanted to progress with ALEST, the same thing happened. Let's assume they did not become competent and non-competent. And so we now had to ask them to refer to the transcript. And the transcript does not state competent or not competent. So with the transcript, they were able to be admitted. And they were admitted. So from the BTech level upwards, so that is how
the body becomes I think that when they started, that was their project. I mean, that they needed some treatment standard for because that for the purpose of our students, let's create them as the entire academic community to understand. Because we are training for a market, and the market should understand the product guys are not there's the competence and incompetence creating a lot of confusion. So yes, then regret. So that's but I believe that as an institution we have also developed two kinds of certificates. Okay, yes, like China, they give them two certificates. If we decide that we are giving you certificate that is so we are confident and confident. And also give another certificate that is the traditional certificate so that you could tender it anywhere. So this one is more or less like interpretation of the confidence which maybe we didn't have time to think to let's put it aside so we can have a but I believe that if we still want to go back to it, it's something we can consider. It's something we I think that the CPT thing, I don't know, it has been a bit challenging. It has been a bit challenging. So, one of the book now ask, are we able to design our own CPT based on our circumstances? Well, are we able to design customize CPT based on our challenges and our context and everything? Besides said that it fits into. It's unfortunate that it's like the CPT as it is. It's very difficult to fit into the way we do things here. So are we able to also customize it so that it fits into how we do things, but still we want to achieve the same target?
Yeah, in fact, you see,
What we can sell to the entire country and also develop to be education. Yes,
CTF has designed a national, CBT program.
No, but theirs is not up to the degree level. Theirs is up to the degree.
No, it is the methodology.
The methodology, yes.
The methodology which is employed was designed the curriculum. Yes. Now the problem with our institution implementing CPT is really very, it will bring about a lot of changes. The academic calendar is actually going to change, you see, and there's also going to be a lot of disruptions. And then the almighty funding. Almighty funding. Because if we discuss that, if we, develop every unit, every unit, its breakdown, right? Its breakdown. We must now look at every learning outcome and then what? The resources to, to get the learning outcome. Now, if the learning outcome is going to come with a lot of resources, which the institution cannot meet, then it makes the whole thing. Though there are other ways of going around it, we can rotate, put them into small groups, and then get some of the resources and get them use it. But unfortunately, at this particular time, it's going to be really very difficult. For instance, you know, at the end of every model, there's supposed to be a receipt. It's not supposed to be carried over until the end of the academic year as we are doing. At the end of every model, there should be a receipt. Students must not be allowed to carry those. That's why at the end of the year, a lot of students have been wasted. So there are a lot of challenges which the institution is not ready for. And they don't want to even take the risk. You see. So I remember we had a committee. You see, we constituted a committee, and then we designed this examination guide for CBT programs. We couldn't implement it because it was going to change the academic calendar. And so they had to shelve it, put it aside. And now, the center which should champion all this is not properly resourced. And the head of center is the only person in his office. And so when you write proposals and things which goes with financial implications, you don't reach far. You don't go far. So those are the issues. So Professor, that is the issue.
So there is a proposal that we should use simulations. Okay. So how does that sit in terms of problem solving where the student has to actually do the practice? So comparing simulations.
Or like using it on the software.
Yes, simulation with the software. This actually the student doing it in real life task as compared to the simulation. And then the learning that comes out of that. Yes. Comparing the two, because there's just suggestion that you can use simulations, you can get the people, they will see how it is done and all that. As compared to the students doing the bits like in real life tasks.
Well, I want to ask a question before you. So, what is the basis of that suggestion of simulation? The proponent of simulation. What is the basis of?
Because they don't want to provide the resources that are required.
Yeah, so
implementing
the practice.
Okay, so let me answer your question. Those who graduated for one of the students, he collected well of data, which of several wells, and then they used it, we use the simulation software to design or characterize the reservoirs where oil will go sink into. They use the software. Now, the software, some of the software costs around 60,000. And so he had to go to, we don't have it. So he had to go to private company. They made available their software and they helped him to do the design. And he came out with the pictures, which included in his reports. So, you see, the main thing is the resources. Chica, money. When I was in Yangtze University, they had some collaboration with some agreement. So the training institutions use their software for just a small fee. The head of department is working on that. This organization. Rebello is working on that. I think we are also going to have make a headway. So it depends on the department. We are also in link with GFPC to provide software. They've established a computer lab for us. And I think they're giving us this 60,000 to buy software. So the department must be up and doing to get this software installed for students to do simulation. But if you want the school to buy it for you,
my question has not been answered.
okay.
I'm talking about simulation. Yes, so suppose the school even you get outsiders to get you the software, okay, to do your simulation. And there are certain things that you have to, let's say, do.
Yes.
If I have to count snails, okay, I need to get my cans, I need to get the SEMA, I need to check vacuum, I need to do all those things.
Practically, the students,
with all these things are not there. Okay, and yes, and then we now resort to using
from outside
simulation. So you will see the retort, which is the sterilizer.
The theoretical.
Yes, as simulation. So you see over there, yes. So and then you use it. So that comparison is what I want.
That one is just like the teacher who used stone to as mouse.
Yes.
Can you press the stone? So that one is not CBT. Using your hand to show this is how it is done.
So that is the reason why I want. So it is not in all cases that we can use the so-called simulation.
No. It's not in all cases. If you don't have the software, you cannot do it. You cannot just project it that this is how the simulation is done. Without the students having a feel of it. If he is employed in the industry, he tells people that I can use a landmark to use this thing just by virtue of you showing it in pictures. They will be disgraced. So that one.
I think students are being charged for practical. Are we not able to leverage on that to cure the no funding syndrome? But now, a department can then request for that money to do the real practical.
Okay, that is another option. But I think the challenge actually goes to the top. If GTech is saying go CBT, because the training of your students must be geared towards industry. Why won't they, get the government to provide resources for smooth implementation of the CBT? Because all what I've talked about, the design of the implementation of the CBT curricula, everything, it comes with money. And so, if the institution must put the bill, they will just push things aside. So, it should come from the top. The way they are able to resource the research institutions, they should be also able to resource the technical universities to implement CBT successfully.
But now let's look at it from
all these things.
Government is not providing, but you also want to produce a product that everybody will be proud of. Like you have mentioned, oil and gas students, they go there and everybody says that, oh, they are so good, they know everything. Computer, they know everything. So it's now become something like a trump card for us to advertise even our programs. That when people come to study at KSTU, they know that they are living there as people who are practically trained, competent. So, if we recognize that advantage, if we recognize that importance, then I believe that committing resources. Like now we are doing okay. Since the university won't release the money, now we are charging students. So it is now increment on the HODs to insist that now students have paid, so bring me the money and let me now implement resources. Yes, my CBT. So I think that from next semester going forward, I think even though we may not be able to solve the whole problem, but I know some departments, because of their numbers, they will have enough money. Yeah. Others don't have the numbers, so the money may not be much. But the little that we have, I think that we should insist that we get the money and then implement it so that the students will get it.
I agree with you. Because if we are able to begin to what? Provide the resources, eventually we'll be able to do full implementation. We are unable to do full implementation because financial implications in providing the resources. That is the case. So if we just as you said, the students are being built for those capital, I think we can start from somewhere. Then gradually we'll be putting in more for training. More for training.
Maybe to add to that, in the departmental budget, there is a budget line for workshop and training. I believe that department must begin to utilize that resource. So next semester, for example, you can use that to like the other aspect of the implementation proper. You can use that amount, that budget amount, to organize this CBT training for staff, so that staff will capacity be built, so that we are able to implement it. Because some new lecturers have been recruited and they haven't really so how do you expect it? So that we bring part-time lecturers and then they just come in and teach anything. Okay, so I believe that department must therefore use that budget line to do proper CBT training, so that we know that now our faculty has been trained. Then we insist that they should deliver CBT. So if you don't train the people, how do you request that they deliver CBT?
Also, those monies, I don't know whether those monies which are always made available for lecturers to go on the website. I don't know whether it's still there.
It's there.
It's there. Please, the head of department must insist that lecturers,
Without
lecturers go for those monies and go for international attachment. We are doing guarantee. We are not letting it's not helping us. Campus about to cry. So that point is also very important. If you see, if the facilitator is not competent or practically supervising a project work or even guiding them through projects, brainstorming, small groups, they will fall back. Yes.
So I think we are discussing here, we are all trying to push for the full implementation of CBT. And I think that from what our principal is saying, that by next semester we should try and implement it. But per our current curriculum, it has not been designed in that way. Because I remember some time ago we were sent to Rosapel. And we were trying to come up with a PSC program, estate management. Yes, and we started converting it to competency based. Because of the we have to reverse it to the normal. Yes. Yeah. I don't think it's this is new.
How did you get accreditation? Because GM was insistent on the curriculum being CBT before.
What happened was that some of the departments got accreditation through the CBT. During the accreditation, some of the assessors that came didn't actually understand the CBT thing, so they forced the some department to convert it to the traditional mode. Even BT syllabus now, the one I sent you. If you check the one I designed during your time, and then the one I sent, there's difference. The one I designed was purely CBT, but this one, the design, maybe semester based. Now it's not about
being are not knowledgeable or are not aware of what we mean by CBT. I have worked with some from these traditional universities, and they go to assess programs. They don't have any knowledge. So I have to now explain how the technical university system operates. They say, hey, you are doing well. So this is good.
I think this one, management must be informed so that they, put it together on their feet. Because it's going to create a lot of problems. It's going to create a lot.
So if you don't have the head of department who is insisting that this is the right thing that ought to be done and you defend it, then you just follow what they come to say. But there have been occasions, for instance, when there have been something, I said, no, this is not the way to go.
Okay, your question.
Yeah. So I'm saying that what our principal is saying that by next semester, I mean, we should try and go in that direction. I think that it will be a because, as we said, our curriculum as it stands now is not in that direction. Because I remember we're even, and that's not the one that you're using, and that's not the one that you're accredited. So they cannot.
Yeah, so this is what I would say. CBT is a mode of delivery, right?
Yes.
So even though the syllabus as you are submitted may not be CBT started, but if you are teaching valuation, you can still deliver it so that you achieve the CBT outcome. No, that's my thinking. So when I teach contract administration, when I teach procurement, okay, I know that I want students to be able to prepare tender documents. I want students to be able to prepare contract documents. They should be able to prepare tender evaluation report. They should be able to prepare valuation of work done. They should be able to prepare certificates. So my goal is that at the end of the day, students should be able to, they should produce tender documents, they should produce contract documents, they should produce evaluation report, they should produce. So I take them through it one by one. If it's tender opening, you prepare the tender document, you bring it. We do mock tender opening there. No, we do mock tender opening there. I give you the document. Go and write the report. You bring it. Then, based on the report, the project is due. So I think that you can still.
That is you. Because you look at the way we design the CBT curriculum outlook.
Yes.
The blueprint. And it is specifically stated that prepare tender document, prepare this. So you have that knowledge. That's why what about those who are now using the new one?
So that's the knowledge we want to transfer here. So that's the knowledge we want to transfer.
The whole thing is, all mixed up. The knowledge and skills must be arranged in such a manner that it will perform a professional task. For instance, prepare the tender document. And then we prepare knowledge and skills to prepare the tender document. That's according to the CBT. But if you have changed it and you have mixed up the whole thing, it is only you who will know that when I'm going to teach, my main focus or main professional task is to teach them to prepare the tender document. What about the others who don't?
They will teach. They will teach. This is why this training is being proposed, because I observe that we are not teaching the practice well. So this is what I also propose. Can we train lecturers to come up with course outline, and the course outline will be structured. Maybe this is the course you are teaching. You develop a course outline that will bring out the outcomes. So
you see, the course outline or several courses must come together to perform professional tasks. Now, if they are not arranged in that manner,
that is where the challenge will be. That's where.
For instance,
we need to
look
look
at the course outline. You see the courses following one another. If at the end of the model, okay, now you don't have a model. It's month.
No, it's semester.
Semester. So at the end of the semester, what are your professional tasks?
Maybe you have module 1, module 2.
Yes.
Everything has been brought into one semester.
Okay.
So at the end of the semester, you will still achieve a certain so it's like it has not been
two professional.
yes, but that's
Yes.
so in that way you are still
But you can come and then remove some of the subjects, the course that this one teach it in the third semester. This one teach it in the fourth semester. This one teach it in the third year. When they do that, then they
disorganize everything.
If what you are saying is true, that the courses already implement new models and the content of the courses are just there like that without any disorganization, then of course it's okay. It means you are now at the end of the semester performing maybe 2 professional tasks. If the courses have been maintained, then there's no problem at all. You see, for civil, so if the head of it doesn't insist,
Yeah, but sometimes the challenge is that the head of the department themselves are not very comfortable with the city. So the moment somebody from outside comes and says, no, then it's like, then comes I think that's a big because you see, there were practical challenges. Every block you have to do exam.
yes,
And it's like
for that model and the essence is not going to take it, or the project to take it, or the project work is not going to take it. You add it to the end of semester project work. So we have 2 project works and the students can do it. And then